Okay everyone, it is 6 in the morning. We're just waiting for the sun to get up a little bit before we start our hike to Escondido Falls. This hike is 3.7 miles out and back. It ends with a waterfall, which is gonna be really nice. And what's really sweet is that it's been raining a lot in Los Angeles and snowing a lot in the Sierras, so it should be flowing really hard actually. This is also a really nice hike to do with families and young kids. Even though it's long, it's only like an elevation gain of like 530 feet. And it's fun because it's not too strenuous. It ends with a really nice view, and you also get to cross a couple creeks, so it's kind of just like a little adventurous for your little ones or people that maybe don't want anything too adrenaline seeking in a hike. It does get really crowded on weekends though. Hence why we're doing this at sunrise on a Tuesday morning. All right, let's do this. So this hike is in Malibu, right off the PCH. There's a parking lot that you can pay for to park in, but what I always like to do is if you're allowed to park on the side of the highway right outside of the parking lot, just do that for free. We parked right along the highway. There's plenty of buffer and there's plenty of parking along the highway, so you don't have to pay. But it's actually a pretty small parking lot, so when you come on weekends, it does get super crowded, so I actually just recommend parking on the highway regardless because it's easier to peel out that way. And the first like mile of the hike is actually along a residential street, but they ask that the hikers take the trail along the side of it. So we're on a little trail, but that's a street right there. You probably can barely see it, but we're actually next to a bunch of mansions too. And that's how a lot of the hikes in Los Angeles are. They're kind of just in like weirdly residential areas. So you're kind of just like hiking through people's backyards before you actually get to the trails. Come on, lead the way. What I also really like about this hike is once you get high enough in the neighborhood, you have some really sick views of the ocean. Isn't that sick? I love it here. Okay, so we're about 0.7 miles in and we're still on an actual residential street, but we're about to bank left in between two people's houses and get to the trail. So we came from up there and we're just going down this street and then we're gonna bank left right there. What does that say, Goose? Dogs on leashes only, okay? Also, if you couldn't tell by the horseshoe tracks in the mud, that horses are also allowed on this trail. I've done this trail a few times, both during the week and on weekends, and I have yet to run into a horse. I don't think Lucy would like that, but just as a heads up. We just dropped down about 300 feet, and I think the temperature dropped to maybe like 5 to 8 degrees. I can see my breath now all of a sudden. Like I said before, I think this hike is really good for kids and families. Even though it's a little long, you do get to cross a couple creeks, which is just kind of fun, but it's not too strenuous or crazy. Oh yeah, is the water cold? Ooh, we crossing the water again, Lucy? Yeah, baby. You're gonna pull me into the water. Oh my goodness, Lucy, are we crossing another creek? And you pulled me. And my foot's wet. I sometimes hate hiking with a dog. Oh yeah, that's great. So this hike was super crowded when I came here last Saturday. It also gets insanely crowded in the summertime, which I think is kind of interesting because sometimes the waterfall actually dries up in the summer. So if you're looking to have a successful waterfall hike in the LA area, I highly suggest doing it in the morning on a weekday right after it rains, because that way you know the waterfall is going to be flowing. And this is Los Angeles. People don't get up early here, especially to go hiking. I think my favorite time to hike in Los Angeles is January through March. It's before it gets too hot in the mountains, and it's before tourist season, so there's not that many people that show up on weekdays. Like so far, I'm the only one here. What's also nice about this trail, especially in the summertime, is that you actually have some decent coverage in certain parts of the trail. It gets really hot up here, and actually usually tends to go into forest fire warnings in the summertime. So if you're not like me, you're not doing this as a sunrise hike in the wintertime, definitely suggest bringing a bunch of water, sunscreen, hat, sunglasses. But if you can get here in the wintertime, highly recommend. Hey Goose, you wanna run a little bit? We're currently 1.7 miles into the hike. This is the end of it, so we just have to turn back around, but we're gonna let Lucy enjoy herself for a little bit. I have never had the place alone to myself before. That was great. I'm not completely alone. Let's go, Goose. So we're turning around at the waterfall. And like I said before, we're about a little under 2 miles in, and it's an out and back trail. So we're just following our footsteps to get back to our car. And for context, if you want to be the only people at the waterfall, it's 7:40 a.m. on Tuesday, and I just passed the first group of people coming in after me. I timed that well because I hate taking photos in front of other people, and I would have been really embarrassed. I gotta work on that. Okay, and we're back at the parking lot. Total distance, a little under 4 miles. Total elevation, a little above 500. 5 streams of water that you have to cross over, and 1 beautiful waterfall. And this is my first YouTube video, and I'm gonna be hiking every trail in LA County, so if you can like subscribe and click and like and be nice, that'd be sick. Happy hiking.